Good morning. Ricky Caruth here. I'm coming to you live from my office here at Remax of Orange Beach in Orange Beach, Alabama. Wait for a few people to log in here. This is the first Zero to Diamond. Connection's a little weird. There we go. This is the first Zero to Diamond live webinar. I put this group together so that agents can get together and kind of have a roundtable discussion, if you will, and just share information about what's working in the market, what's not working. Hey, what's up, Justin? So anyway, we're down here. I'm in Orange Beach, Alabama, right on the Florida-Alabama line, right on the beach. So Orange Beach goes right to Perdido Key, Florida. So we're right here on the line. I do a lot of deals in Alabama and Florida. Florida, it's good to me. I do maybe 10-15% of my business in Florida, but I do most of my business in Alabama. So today it's about 65 degrees or so, a little cloudy down here on the beach. Springtime's right around the corner. We've had a really warm winter, as most of you guys know. It's been warm just about all over the country this winter. Not a real cold winter except for way up north. But even up there, they didn't get the snow that they normally get. Anyway, since a lot of you guys are logged in now, I was just saying that I created this group just to help agents and have other agents help agents. It's just a group where we're just going to help each other. Talk about what's working, what's not working. And just spread information. So today I want to talk about why phone calls are so important. Phone calls are just it's the number one tool. There's no way around that. Before I get into that, I want to just kind of tell you a little bit about where my business is up to this point. Last year I did 104 transactions. This year so far I've closed 13. Let's see. Those 13 deals I closed, it was $4.1 million. 850 of that was buyers, and 3.3 million was listings. So most of my deals are sellers. 20% or so are buyers. So I go after listings and accidentally run into buyers. On another webinar, I'm going to talk about buyers versus sellers. Listing agents make the most money in any market, but you have to know which buyers to take and which buyers not to take, and that's where a lot of agents mess up. They'll take every buyer thinking they're trying to help everybody, and really at the end of the day it sucks all their time away, where they're just working on one buyer at a time, when really they need to be referring out most of those buyers, pick and choose the buyers that are the best quality, and then focus the rest of the time on getting listings, right? If you can do big projects to create hundreds of listings, okay, that's going to be hundreds of future deals, right? Whereas a buyer is just one buyer at a time, okay? But if you're working projects for future, hundreds of listings, you're setting yourself up to do hundreds of deals later instead of just one deal at a time. That's how I have gotten to where I have with doing 100 deals a year. For the last 3 years, I've done over 100 transactions per year, just me as a single agent. This year, so far, I've closed 13. I'm on track to do 100. I may do way more than that. I may hit 150 or so. I don't know. The year has started out very strong. I'm seeing it across the board. I look at other Facebook groups and see the conversations that are going on, and it seems like everybody's had their best month ever in January. I had my first six-figure month in January this year. Biggest month ever in real estate. I mean, January is normally our slowest month of the year. So it's amazing what's happening. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like after the election happened, it was like a flip, like a switch flipped, and everybody just kind of got in a whole different mindset and started buying and selling, and it was just very active. Right now in my market, it's slowed down just a little bit. Like I say, January is normally our slowest month, but it's the calm before the storm, because spring is our busiest time. So I'm gearing up for that. I'm real excited about what's coming for the spring. So like I said, I want to talk about phone calls and why they're so important and everything. I got a question here from Justin. Says, what's your top way to generate listings or listing leads? All right, it's what I just said, phone calls. When I first started in my career, I started out making 50 calls every single day. I did that for 2 years. I picked a subdivision or neighborhood. I would spend all night looking up 100 people, try to find their phone numbers. I'd find 50 of them. 25 of those were good numbers, and I'd talk to 5 of those people. So I'd work all night long just to try to call 50 people, just to try to talk to 5 people. Okay, I did that for 2 years. Okay, out of those 5 people I talked to per year, I connected with 2 or 3 people. All right, so when I connect with 2 or 3 people a day, I do that every day. That's 10 people in a week, 500 in a year, 1,000 in 2 years. So after 2 years, I had about 1,000 people that I connected with over the phone, got their email address, asked them to lunch, and through that 2-year period, I maybe sold 30 properties, which is not bad for first 2 years in real estate. But more importantly, I had this database of people that connected with me, right? Strong connection, not just random internet leads or just random people that has emailed you and this and that. So I'm getting some questions here. How many hours do you work, Ricky? Where do you get your listing leads? I work 9 to 5 every day. I work out in the morning. I get to the office at 9. I work till 5. And then I try to shut it down. If I were new in the business, I would work till midnight, right? Because in the beginning, you're trying to build it. You have to put everything you got into it every day for 12 hours or more, right? Until you get your business built and where you want to be. Then you can start working the 9 to 5 just to keep it growing, right? On the weekends, I don't come into the office. I just, if somebody wants to see a property or meet me for a listing appointment or something, then absolutely, I'm all over that. I'll meet anybody at any time, anywhere. But I don't come into the office and do my busy work and prospecting and all that on the weekends. So, but if I were new, I will work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. All right, let's see here. Everyone uses the same script. Sellers are tired of hearing the same old thing. What do you do differently? Thanks, Melissa, for the question. Okay, guys, I'll tell you. I enter into the call. I tell them who I am. I ask them how they're doing today. And then when they tell me how they're doing, I go right into talking about the weather. A lot of realtors, they go straight for the kill, and they start asking for the business right off the bat. Well, what I do differently is I don't go straight for the kill. I want to try to create a relationship. I want to get to know them a little bit. I want to break the ice. I want to separate myself. So I start talking about the weather. I might say, "How you doing today?" He says, "Oh, I'm doing good. How about you?" I say, "Oh, great. Just enjoying the good weather we got going. Isn't it beautiful outside?" Or if it's raining, I'll say something. Whatever the weather's doing, I say something about it. And they start talking about the weather. So when I'm talking about the weather to the person, this kind of throws them off a little bit. They're not expecting me to start talking about the weather because I'm a real estate agent. They're used to every real estate agent start trying to sell them, Or do they want to buy? Do they want to sell? That's not my goal right here. My goal is to create a long-term, lifelong relationship with this person. So I start talking about the weather. Then I go straight into, once that's over, I go into my reason for the call. A house sold. What can I do for you? There's a great listing down the road that's really cheap. Didn't know if anybody might be interested. I see your house is for sale by owner. When can I take a look? I see your property expired off the market. Do you still want to sell? Whatever my reason is. Okay? So I talk about the weather. I separate myself there. Once I ask them if they want to buy or sell or whatever, and they say no, I ask them if they have a realtor in the area that they work with. And if they say no, I say, okay, well, look, one day you're going to want to buy or sell something, and I would just like the opportunity to work with you when that day comes. Then they say, yeah, great. So then I say, was it okay if we stay in touch? I let them answer. As soon as they say yes, I say, what's your email address? Get their email address. As soon as I get that, I ask them to lunch. So I take a no, I'm not interested into, do they have an agent, into, let's stay in touch, I want to work with you, let's go have lunch. So that's kind of how I separate myself. Great question, Melissa. Thank you. Okay. No more questions right now. I want to get into why phone calls are so important real quick. So, by the way, thanks guys for tuning in and listening to this. It means a lot. I just want to help agents succeed in any way I can. If there's anything I can do for any of you guys, feel free to message me, call me, anything I can do. So, have you ever thought about why technology has not taken over the real estate sector, or why real estate agents still exist? Technology came along and it wiped out plenty of industries, right? It wiped out travel agencies. There's no travel agencies. It's all online now. Have you ever wondered why that is? Why real estate agents still exist, and why we still get 6%? It hasn't even knocked a dent in the commission structure. I'll tell you why. There's a couple reasons. One is real estate is such a localized market, right? From market to market is so different. I mean, I can drive 15 minutes up the road from where I'm at, and I don't know what's going on, right? I would have to call an agent up there and ask him what's going on, right? Because the market's so different from place to place. So that builds a need for an agent, for you to have a conversation with an agent, to consult, to learn the market, to figure out what's going on. What do we do? How do we do it? You have to have an agent for that. That's nothing that a computer can replace. You can't replace the market information. The market's changed so quick. So agents, local agents, they stay on top of their market. As the market changes, they understand that. They know, they stay on top of what's going on so they can consult the clients. The second thing is it doesn't really cost anything for a buyer to use a real estate agent. So real estate agents have all the buyers, right? We got all the buyers, okay, and we know the market. We know the local market. So sellers are going to come to us, okay, because we have the buyers and we know the market. And the buyers are going to come to us because we're free to them and we know the market. So, technology, I don't believe, I could be wrong. I don't believe, I'm sure it could happen, but I don't think technology is going to ever take away the real estate industry. It hasn't yet. It hasn't even made a dent in it. But furthermore, this kind of proves my point that phone calls are so important. Okay, the same reason that technology hasn't replaced real estate agents is the same reason why phone calls are so important. Okay, think of it like this. This is the way I've thought about it. This is the way I've built my business. I built my entire business on phone calls and cold calling, right, and building relationships through those phone calls. And then everything else, just build your brand, right? When I say everything, I mean emails, postcards, letters, social media, signs, benches, billboards, internet, website, business cards, right? All that, to me, it just builds your brand. You have to have that. You have to have a huge brand name, and you build it through what I just said, everything except for phone calls. Now, are you going to get deals from all those sources, from social media, from signs and websites? Sure, you're going to get deals from that, but you're not going to build a big, huge business from that, right? You're not going to build, you'll barely scrape by off the deals that you get off those sources. You build your business over the phone, creating long-term relationships, thousands of them, right? So another thing I think about is what's in between any agent and a closing, right? What's the common denominator between you and a closing? It's a conversation. Every single closing has to have a conversation. If it's an internet lead that emails you, you have to call them and talk to them and show them property, meet with them, write a contract, what have you. You can't just magically do a deal without talking to somebody, okay? There has to be a conversation in place and a relationship created for there to be a closing. So if that's the case, if what's between me and a closing is a conversation, then I just want to supercharge this whole system, right? And go straight to having as many conversations as I can have. Okay? If you did nothing but make phone calls, you could build a huge business. Okay? Because that's what I did. I didn't have a website and all this stuff when I first started. I just made phone calls. And I built a huge business. Right? So if all you did was phone calls, you can build a huge business. Right? If you add all the other stuff, you're going to build your brand with your business, and now you're going to have a monster business. But if you do everything but make phone calls, right? If you do all the other sources of business except for make phone calls, you're not going to build a big business, right? Phone calls are king, okay? And it's because of what I just said. Technology can't replace us because we're too local, right? We're experts in our market, and we have all the buyers. They're coming to us to consult. So we have the buyers in our pocket. We have the market knowledge in our pocket. So technology can't replace us. Getting a few questions here. How do you determine who you call? How do you obtain that information? Thank you, Leah. The people I call are property owners who own property I want to sell. So, I'm down here on the beach, right on the Florida-Alabama line. I want to target Gulfront condos or whatever. I may have a buyer for a condo across the street. I may have a buyer for a house in a neighborhood. Maybe I don't have a buyer. I just want to sell the properties in that neighborhood or complex. I go to the tax records. Every county has the tax information. It's public record for who owns what their mailing address is, what they paid when they bought it. Okay, so you have to go through your broker and say, hey, what system do we use to find property owners in particular subdivisions and stuff? Okay, so you go there, you decide who you want to target, you get their addresses, you reverse look up their addresses on anywho.com, spokeo.com, whoever, and you call them. Now, like I say, you're going to find 50% of the numbers, half of those are bad, but you're going to talk to a small percentage of people out of that group, but it's worth it. If you can create long-term relationships out of those people and do that for years, right? And none of this happens overnight. It's taken me 15 years to get to where I had a six-figure month. It's a lot of hard work. I still work every day. I still make 50 calls a week. I made 50 calls a day in the beginning. I still make 50 calls a week now. I could probably not make calls and still do all right. But I understand the importance of calls to building your business. Without phone calls, your business will quit growing and start to deteriorate. Hope that helps, Leah. What CRM are you using to stay organized? Justin asked. Good question. I use Constant Contacts. When I make my calls, I get their email address. I plug their email address into Constant Contacts. I send out a weekly report. send out a weekly market report to my database through Constant Contacts. And then other than that, I keep all my contacts on my phone. So I hope that helps, Justin. I'm not the best when it comes to organization and everything. I'm kind of scattered. But, it's all in my head. Like, I know where everything is, and it's the way that I need it to, everybody has their own way. When did you hire an assistant? And how did you realize that it was the right time for hiring one? And this is a great question. Let's see. Kind of losing some wireless or something here. Okay. Let's see. All right, here we go. All right. Well, kind of losing my service here, guys. Can you see me? Damn. Okay, here we go. All right, when did I hire an assistant? How did I realize that it was the right time to hire one? I hired an assistant maybe 6 years ago. All right, it was when I had 30 listings. 30 listings was my threshold that I couldn't handle it anymore. When you have 30 listings, there's a lot of showing requests coming in. Okay, so when I had 30 listings, I had so many showing requests coming in, I was having to handle those showing requests from other agents wanting to show my listings. So it was taking a lot of time away from my clients that I needed to spend time with. I needed to call them, I needed to prospect, I needed to go have lunch, I needed to do this, that. And my business was clogged up with all this showing request. And although it's very important, you have to handle that part of your business very well. As far as getting agents into your listings to show. I mean, if that doesn't happen, they don't sell. It is something you can hire out. So when I got 30 listings, that was the moment that I had to hire an assistant. And that would be my goal for all you guys. Work your tail off, work 12 hours a day, go for listings, get to 30 good listings, and then hire an assistant. Right? At that point, you're making enough money to hire an assistant, and you need one. And once you do that, she's going to take all the pressure off of you, of all the showing requests and other administrative things that need to happen. And then you can, from there, focus more on your clients and go get more listings. Okay, that's when you jump from 30 listings to 50 to 60 listings. All right? What do you mean, Justin, or other systems? I know what you mean about that, Justin. So let's get back to the discussion here. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the first live webinar for Zero to Diamond. I'm going to do these at least once a week, maybe twice a week. I am an agent who is still actively selling, so I can't have a set time every week. I'm just going to let you guys know. I'll post it on the group of when I'm going to do these. Thanks. Good to have you guys. Got a question here. Fred says, I understand the importance of phone calls. How much and what do you do in additional marketing? Mail outs, flyers? Do you do or recommend open houses? Great question, Fred. Fred, by the way, he has signed up for my coaching. He signed up. He went to zerotodiamond.com. He signed up for the online course, $150 a month, and I deal with Fred on a one-on-one basis. So if any of you guys are interested in that, just let me know and I'll hook you up. So, how many? Okay, 50 calls a day is what a new agent should make, just like I did. 50 calls a day, every day for 2 years, right? Just to talk to 5 people, to connect with 2 people a day. Like I said, you connect with 2, you get 10 a week, 500 a year, 1,000 in 2 years. Now you're dominating your market if you have 1,000 people in the market who own property that you connect with. As far as additional marketing, When I connect with those people, I get their email address. I plug them into my database. I'm sending them weekly reports every week about the market. That's how I stay in front of them. Okay, so I do my calls. I do my weekly report every week, same day, same time. And then I do postcards. I do postcards to 2,500 people every 6 weeks. Every single 6 weeks, boom, postcards. All right, I design them, send them out. So really that's all I do is the emails, the phone calls, the postcards. I do some social media. I've got signs all around town. I have a billboard. Let's see. As far as open houses go, I absolutely recommend open houses. When you're a new agent, you need to get all the exposure you can get. I would do open houses every weekend if I were new. And I would take that time at the open house to make phone calls while I'm sitting there, right? I used to do open houses when I was new, and I would go to them, I would take my phone numbers, I would sit there and I would call the whole time I was at the open house. I didn't just sit there at the open house hoping people drove by and then that was all I wanted to do. No. I was trying to do two things at once. I would sit at the open house and make phone calls while I was sitting there. What up, John? So John does this. He's a new agent. You know, John Team, he just tuned in. He's a new agent down here in my area. He's very motivated. He will go do an open house for no reason, just to do one. He'll put signs up and do an open house, and then he'll have his phone numbers. He'll go there and make 20 or 30 calls while he's waiting on people to walk in. Right? That's called multitasking, and that's what it takes to succeed in this business. You have to be able to do several things at once, and you got to be willing to think of things you can do to create massive amounts of business, and that's one of them. Open houses, phone calls at the same time. Good question, Fred. Talk to you soon, man. Thanks, Justin. Thanks for tuning in. Adam, hey, how you doing? Melissa, another question from Melissa. Besides CRM, what is the one form of paid marketing you'd invest in if you had $200 to $500 a month to spend? Postcards. Absolutely, postcards. I would figure out what my farm area was going to be, what type of properties I would want to sell, and then I would send postcards every 6 weeks, $200 to $500 worth. That's what I would do. There's no better money spent than postcards. Right? Direct mail to the exact people that you want to do business with, right? So I'm going to send postcards to them. I'm going to spend $200 to $500 a month sending postcards to them, and I'm going to call them, right? And I'm going to create long relationships with these people, get their email addresses, put them in my email database. That's what I would do. I'd pour that money into my farm area. Thank you for the question, Melissa. All right. Don't see any further questions at the time. Okay, Laura has one here. Thank you, Laura. What's on your postcards? Good question. Well, I try to make them very simple. Let's see if I have one. Let's see if I got one somewhere. Okay. All right. Here's a postcard I just did. I don't know if you guys can read it or if it's backwards. But just listed. Ricky just listed another condo. A few pictures, my contact information. Then, my contact info on the back. Nothing fancy. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just as long as they're getting something every 6 weeks with your name on it. Something about the market. Alright, check this one out. This was my Christmas one, right? Season's greetings, a gift for you, right? And on the back, I tell them, your choice of any restaurant along the Gulf Coast, let me know and I'll meet you there, or send you a gift card in the mail. Can't see it because it kind of got blocked out by the post office. But anyway, I'm offering them a free meal. They can use this when they come down to see me, to meet me anywhere they want to meet, and I'll buy them lunch or dinner. So that's the kind of stuff I do on postcards. Real simple. If I list something, I send a postcard out saying I just listed. If I sold, I send that out. If I don't have anything to say, I'll just say, I'll have a picture of the building, and I'll think of something, but it's going to be simple and sweet, to the point. It doesn't matter really, as long as they're getting something every 6 weeks. Thank you for the question, Laura. Let's see, Adam. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. All right. Let me know if you guys have any further questions. Like I said, I'm doing this for you guys. I want to see you guys succeed. Let's see. Laura's asking me here. Also curious, when you were newer, how many lunches did you do weekly? Yeah, absolutely, Laura. I did do a lot of lunches. I still do a lot of lunches. I do lots of lunches. And the cost is high. I mean, when you go and buy people lunch, start buying people lunch, it is high, I will admit. But that is you investing back into your business. When you go and you buy them lunch, when you have lunch with somebody, take the comps with you in a folder, a nice folder with your company logo on it. Take it with you, give it to them when you're done, have it sitting there. If they want to talk about the market when you're eating lunch, open it up and talk about the market. If they don't, just leave it closed. Tell them, here's the comps. When you leave, they can have it. You're building relationships. The cost of the lunch is so little compared to what that lunch is going to pay you in dividends later, right? Because this person now has a connection with you. You guys are connected on a level that no other realtor is. You are their realtor if they decide to do something, or if they have somebody they want to refer to a realtor. You're their guy or girl, right? Because you bought them lunch, and you're going to stay in touch with them. You're going to send them a weekly email. You're going to send them postcards every 6 weeks, right? So, yeah, the cost is a little high, but the payoff is far, far greater than what that lunch costs. And in the beginning, if you can't afford lunches every day or whatever, then just have a goal. You want to do one a week with a client. Try to do one lunch a week, something like that. To answer your question, when I was new, I did a lot of lunches. I still do a lot of lunches. So the cost of the lunches is nothing compared to what it pays you back in return. So you're welcome, Laura. Thank you for the question. I really appreciate that, and I hope that all these questions and answers are helping other people watching. If you have any questions, just type it in. I'll answer it. I want to let's see, I think I've really kind of covered everything I want to cover. Phone calls are the most important part of your business. That's the only way to grow your business. Everything else just builds your brand. Let's see. 50 calls a day. I'll get into a little bit of deepness here for you real quick. And then if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to hear them. But agents who aren't succeeding, and they're new or 2 years in or whatever, and they're not producing at the level that they want to produce at, and they don't make phone calls, to me, that's selfish. Because by that time they know that phone calls are the fastest way to success, right? But they're not willing to make the phone calls because they don't want to go through this little bit of uncomfortableness that cold calls give you, right? When the agent succeeds, who does it help? It helps you, yourself, the agent. It helps your friends, your family, everybody, right? When you succeed, everybody wins. Your family, your coworkers, your friends, yourself, right? You can't help anybody until you help yourself. If you know phone calls are gonna be the fast track to help you succeed, and you're still not willing to make the phone calls, then you're selfish, because you're basically telling everybody that you would rather not be a little uncomfortable, okay, than to succeed and help everyone around you. So to me, that's a selfish act. Don't worry about the uncomfortableness. That comes with the territory. It's normal, right? You know that when you're stretching your comfort zone, you're growing, right, personally. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to succeed at a high level. Okay? So I just wanted to share that. I got another question here. What's the most efficient and cheapest way to get phone numbers? Great question. I'll tell you, there's not a real easy way to do this. Google, how do I find phone numbers, right? Do some research, hustle. I like Anywho.com and Spokio.com. I'll work those two websites and cross-reference all my addresses. Like I said, when I was new, I looked up 100 numbers all night to call 50 the next day to talk to 5. Then I would look up a new 100 the next night, a new 100 the night after, a new 100, new 100, new 100. I did that every day for 2 years, 50 calls a day. It took me about half a day to make the 50 calls. The other half, I did all the other stuff I needed to do, administration, show property, listing appointments, whatever. And then after hours, I would look up the numbers I needed to call the next day. I was hungry, motivated. I wanted to succeed. I wasn't going to let anything hold me back from succeeding. So I didn't care about the hours. I was more obsessed with the success than worrying about feeling uncomfortable or worrying about what I was missing out on by not, going out to a bar or something that night. I wanted to succeed. I was going to do anything it took to get there. So, Anywho.com, Spokio.com, those are my favorites. I hope that helps. Thank you for the question. Thank you so much. Thank you, Leah. I appreciate that. I hope it helps. Like I said, just trying to help everybody. If there's any other questions anybody has, feel free. I think I've really kind of covered everything I wanted to cover. My business right now is a weekly email that goes out every week to all my client base, which is 13,000 people. I've got 13,000 people in my email database. 2,500 of those people open up the email every week. So I've got 13,000 I've connected with over the phone in 15 years. I've got 2,500 of those people who open up my email every single week. Okay, I have that part of my business. I spend about an hour a week working on my report, the email, what it's going to say. If you guys want to see what I'm sending out every Wednesday, just email me your email address, and I'll put you on there. That way you can see what's happening, what I'm doing, and maybe you can use that and kind of redo it for your area. So 13,000, 2,500 of them open it up. I got 2,500 postcards going out every 6 weeks, and then I do my 50 calls a week, cold calls. My cold calls are all $1 million and up properties, because if I'm going to spend the time to make the calls at this point, then it has to be the most profitable calls I can possibly make, because I only have 50. So I do $1 million and up cold calls now. I try to make 50 a week. Sometimes I make 100, sometimes I make none, but I try to average 50 a week. I do the best I can do. I stay real busy. So, I see a question there. What CMR tool do I use? I answered this earlier. It's Constant Contacts. I just put them all in there. I send a weekly report from there. All my phone numbers are in my phone. So, getting a few emails here from people wanting to be in my weekly report. So anyway, I think I'm gonna. If you guys have any questions, please feel free. You guys can still message me if you have any questions. Call me. I do want to say that I'm doing this because I want to help other agents. I did write a book. It's called Zero to Diamond. You can get that at zerotodiamond.com. You can go to Zero to Diamond and go to buy book. It's right there on Kindle. Paperback's coming out. Audio version's coming. So I'm real excited to share a lot of my techniques with other agents and see how far I can take this. I want to build this group into 5, 10, 20, 30,000 agents that are all helping each other. I guess this is me signing out. Like I said, just contact me anytime. If you want to, on social media, you can like me on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, at Ricky Carruth. Make friends on Facebook. Contact me however you like to contact me. Ask me anything you want to ask me. I'm an open book. So I'll talk to you guys again soon. Next time I do one of these, you'll know because you're part of the group. and I'll post it. So since I'm still out here selling real estate and I have a schedule, and it's crazy, I can't do a set time every week, but I'm going to let you guys know 24 to 48 hours before I do these. That way you guys can get your questions in, and hopefully we can help as many agents as we can help. So I enjoyed it. Thank you guys. I love you, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.